Good morning. It is now 10:30 a.m. this bright, sunny Marianas morning on June 13th, 2023. And I welcome everyone to your Senate chamber. We will begin our confirmation hearing this morning of Miss Elizabeth Emma Cabrera Itibus and Miss Monique Boyer Sablon, nominated by Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang to serve as board members of the CNMI Scholarship Board. Both nominees were nominated on April 10th, 2023. And I want to welcome also todos sa ni manaega gi Facebook sa ni YouTube gi pahina ni Mina 23 na legislatura. Bienvenido para todos hamzo. I am Selena Babauta and I serve as the Senate Standing Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Operations Investigations. Before we proceed with introductions, I'd like to take care of some administrative matters. I would like to ask everyone to please take a moment, a few seconds at this time, to please silence your electronic devices. Also, we will be streaming live on Facebook, and if for any reason we need to take a break or take a recess, Facebook will continue to stream live without the audio. At this time, I will recognize the professional staff assisting this committee this morning. We have our legal counsel, Mr. Joe Bermudez. We have our legislative assistant assigned to the committee, Mr. Devin Macaronis. We have our IT manager, Mr. Jonathan Diaz, and to keep order and decorum at all times here in the chamber, we have our sergeant at arms, Mr. Ben Terlahi. I will now recognize the legislative assistant, Mr. Devin Macaronis, to call the roll of the committee.
Senator Selena R. Babauta,
Presente.
Senator Paul A. Manglona, Senator Donald M. Manglona,
Present.
Senator Dennis C. Mendiola.
Here.
Madam Chair, all members of the Senate EAGI committee are present.
Sizus Mosit, Mr. Macaronis, with all members present. And we have the necessary quorum to conduct today's meeting. It is hereby called to order. Next up on the agenda, we have the adoption of the agenda, and I will recognize Senator Paul Manglona for the proper motion.
So move, Madam Chair, for the adoption of our agenda.
Sizus Mosit, Senator Paul, are there any discussions on the motion? Are there any objections to the motion? There being none, the motion passes. At this time, I will call Mr. Oscar Babauta, the Special Assistant for Administration, as well as both nominees to please join us at the table. And Mr. Babauta's role here is to formally present and introduce the nominees to the committee. And before Mr. Babauta begins, and as we wait for both of the nominees to come up, today we will be evaluating the credentials, professional and educational of both Miss Elizabeth Emma Itibus and Miss Monique Sablon, beyond, and also their character beyond their professional and educational standing. In the EAGI's privilege to recommend to either reject or confirm the nominees. I will now ask Mr. Babauta to go ahead and proceed.
Buenos días, Madam Chair, Senator Selena Babauta, Roberto Babauta, and the esteemed members of your EAGI committee, Lesor Mamoy and Hafaday Dantiro, the honorable members of all executive appointment and government investigation committee. For the record, Madam Chair, my name is Oscar M. Babauta, the Special Assistant for the Administration for the Office of the Governor. On behalf of Governor Anwar R. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David M. Apatang, I'm humble and thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today and primarily this morning. I am officially here to introduce the Governor's nominees for the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors, namely Ms. Monique Boyer Sablon and Ms. Elizabeth Emma Cabrera Itibus. Ms. Sablon is an experienced professional with over 10 years of seasonal experience and is no stranger to the CNMI Scholarship Office. She graduated from the University of California in Irvine in 2015 with a BA degree in English and a minor in Humanities and Law, and previously worked as a human resources learning and development supervisor for Imperial Pacific International, workforce program coordinator for the CNMI Scholarship Office, a special assistant for youth affairs, managing director of the CNMI Cannabis Commission, and is currently the director of Community Development Institute at the Northern Marianas College. She is currently also involved in the community in many community projects and serving as the treasurer of the Northern Marianas Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, director of the Commonwealth Cancer Association, and is an alumna of the Pacific Century Fellow. Ms. Itibos is another fine, energetic young woman. Is an experienced professional with over 7 years of experience. She then returned home in 2012 and began working as a vital statistic clerk at the Commonwealth Health Care Corporation for a year before transitioning to work as a fisheries biologist for the Division of Fish and Wildlife in 2015. In the summer of 2015, Dr. Itibus once again relocated to Savannah, Georgia, where she attended South University School of Pharmacy. By June 18, she received her Doctor of Pharmacy degree and returned home to Saipan to begin working at the CHC, the Lone Hospital of the Commonwealth, to help our community, where she started as a graduate intern. Upon passing her board exam and subsequently getting her registered pharmacist designation, RPH, license in both the state of Hawaii and the CNMI, she transitioned from the graduate intern to staff pharmacist at the CHC, where she remains today, prescribing appropriate medicines for EU patients. Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David M. Apateng placed their full trust and confidence in Ms. Sablon and Ms. Itibus to serve in the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors. I know, Madam Chair and members of this EAGI committee, that they both stand ready to answer your questions and present their future plans in their new role as member of the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors. Their long history of professional experience, credentials, and commitment to serving the Commonwealth in these capacities makes them viable candidates, and we humbly ask for your expeditious approval. Thank you, Sizus Masid and Giliso Olomay Rem, for the opportunity to introduce both of them to this august body. And once again, the administration seeks your undivided attention for an expedient and supportive confirmation of both nominees and towards the full Senate. Sizus Masid, and buenos dias para todos sa Talumbay.
Sizus
Thank you.
Masit, Mr. Babalta. And next up on the agenda, we have public comments, and I will now open the floor for public comments. And if there are no objections, I would like to have Mr. Frankie Leptico come in first because he has another schedule right after this. And then everyone else can follow after that. Please state your name and the entity you represent when making public comments for the record. You may
Good-
proceed.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak today in support of the nomination of Ms. Monique Sablon to the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors. My name is Frankie Elliptico, and I work at the Northern Marianas College as the Vice President of Administration and Advancement. Ms. Sablon is a professional colleague and a good friend. I am here in my personal capacity to speak to Ms. Sablon's commitment to education, her passion for expanding educational opportunities, her impeccable character, and her dedication to public service. When Ms. Sablon began her employment at Northern Marianas College earlier this year, she made an impression that was immediate and inspiring. In a short amount of time, she was highly regarded in her work ethic, her steadfast commitment to students, and her dedication to the advancement and professional development of CNMI residents. She was quick to take on monumental tasks, forge partnerships, and navigate the private and public landscape to ensure that NMC is providing the necessary workforce needs that are necessary at this time. She is also well known for her volunteer work with MENA, with Pride Marianas, and many, many other nonprofit organizations throughout the CNMI. In Ms. Sablon, Governor Palacios has nominated a dedicated individual to the CNMI Board of Directors. CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors. She is a strong advocate for our people, our CNMI students, for our islands, and for our people. I have no doubt that her confirmation to the board will complement the other board members' very broad and very extensive background and experience. I fully support her nomination and urge the Senate Committee on Executive Appointments to confirm it in the soonest possible time. I also want to say that I'm here to support Ms. Emma Itibus. I have known Emma for a very, very long time, and I didn't know that her nomination was on today's agenda, but I sit next to probably two of the finest young women in the entire CNMI, and I support fully their nomination to the CNMI Scholarship Board. Thank you very much.
Jesus Masit, Mr. Elliptical.
Thank you.
The floor is still open.
Good morning, Madam Chair and esteemed members of this committee. My name is Donna Flores, and I work for the public school system. I currently serve as the director for the special education program. If I look familiar, you recently, thank you. I had your blessing a couple of months ago to serve on the CNMI Scholarship Board, and I thank you for that opportunity. I'm here this morning on behalf of board member Diana Hokuk and myself in full support of these two nominees, Miss Elizabeth Emma Itibus and Miss Monique Sablon, to serve as colleagues, as fellow board members for the CNMI Scholarship Board. I don't need to reiterate their qualifications, their experience, their vast backgrounds. They truly are women of the CNMI who have come home to serve our community and make it a better place for all of us. There are many of us out there who serve in this capacity, and of course, I would like to thank the Palacios Apatang administration for nominating these two women to serve as board members for the board, the scholarship board. I just want to emphasize the need to organize the scholarship board. It hasn't been organized, or they haven't met in a couple of years. So I just want to impress on you the urgency and the need to confirm such outstanding professionals to this board. They're young, they're energetic, and we need that in our boards. Not to mention those with wisdom as well. But it's nice to have fresh faces, fresh insight, new ideas. And I just can't express how thankful I am that these two were nominated. I know Emma personally and professionally. Miss Monique, we've had our interactions, professional interactions, and I say they really uphold themselves well, and they are contributing members to our society. And I think those are the types of people we really need to to bring into our government boards to make those positive impacts and work for a better Commonwealth, because that's our intention here. So again, please, with a humble heart in mind, I ask for your support and confirmation for these two individuals to serve on the CNMI Scholarship Board, so we can organize. And the new semester is coming up, so there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed that have been put on the table for a while. So I know they are committed, and they will work as hard as the rest of us will. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. The floor is still open.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Tiro me hafade. I'm Romulo Orsini, a vice principal at Marianas High School under the public school system, and as well as MC extraordinaire. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to speak of the praises of these two amazing women. I also just met Dr. Itabis this morning by hearing her bio. Thank you so much for your service. But I would also like to say that these two women are great candidates to the Board of Education. Not Board of Education, Scholarship Board. These women are passionate advocates for education, driven by their desire to make a difference in the lives of our people and the development of our islands. They firmly believe that education is the key to empowering individuals and transforming our community. With unwavering determination, they seek to improve access to quality education for all, especially those from marginalized backgrounds. They actively engage with our local schools, community youth, and as well as government agencies to create educational initiatives, promote literacy, and provide resources to students in need. Through their efforts, they envision a brighter future where every individual on our islands has the opportunity to thrive and reach their full potential. And so, honorable ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I give to you Dr. Ictabis and Miss Monique Boyer-Sablon.
Mr. Orsini, thank you for that lively testimony. We always welcome it. The floor is still open.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Felix Nogis. I'm here on behalf of the Followers community to attest and ask for your support in confirming Dr. Emma Itubus. She has a lot of credentials. In fact, it's impressive credentials, and I'm sure that goes to Mrs. Boyer. On the other hand, I just want to warn the guys that are in here in the chamber that evidently were taken over by the ladies with impressive credentials. And I'm here, I know Miss Emma. Dr. Itubus earned her BS degree, Bachelor of Science degree in biology through Hawaii University, got her doctorate of pharmacy from South University School of Pharmacy. She obtained and maintained her license as a pharmacist from Hawaii State Board of Pharmacy and CNMI, Professional Licensing Board. Throughout her career, she has worked for various pharmaceutical entities in Georgia and Florida, and now she has returned as a Chamolinian descent to serve our people here in the CNMI. With that, I'm humbly asking this committee to please support both candidates in the confirmation process. And I would like to thank you all for this opportunity given to me to attest. Thank you.
Mr. Nogis. The floor is still open.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair and Senators. I'm here really in my role as dad, father to Monique. This is the first opportunity I've had throughout my 70 years experience where I had to appear before the public to speak on behalf of my sibling. And Monique is our youngest of my household members. All I'm asking really is the opportunity for her to serve, as board member of the scholarship. I think her background credentials speaks for itself. And I'm very proud that the governor and the lieutenant governor has chosen her to sit as a board member of the scholarship. So my statement really is very brief and very personal. And I'm asking each one of you to support her appointment for confirmation. With that, I wanted to thank each one of you personally. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sablan, may I have you please state your name for the record?
For the record, my name is Manuel A. Sablan, otherwise known as Manny Sablan. So I'm all over the place here in terms of my activity, particularly in the area of finance and economics. So for the record, again, I'm stating my name. Well, thank you very much.
Cesar Swasi, you only mentioned dad in the beginning, so we needed to get your name on the record, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is still open.
It shows I don't come here more often. So good morning, chairwoman and members of this committee. My name is Mildred Sablan Camacho. I am the administrator for the CNMI Scholarship Office. I am here before you to testify in support of Ms. Monique Sablan, Boyer Sablan, to serve on the CNMI Scholarship Board. And we are also in support of Dr. Emma Itabus to be on the same board, as both of them are testaments of receiving scholarship awards to help finance their education, and they both came back and serve our community. I will speak more on Monique as she was a former employee. Ms. Monique was a former employee of the CNMI Scholarship Office as the Workforce Program Coordinator from August 2017 to April 2019. In her short tenure, Monique was responsible for conducting assessment of number of positions with the CNMI workforce occupied by non-resident workers. She collaborated with CNMI educational and training institutions on work plans for CW funds. She collaborated with stakeholders in the CNMI on workforce development, sustainability strategies, and etc. Her position is crucial to the Commonwealth's effort in building our workforce to address the transition of non-resident workers as mandated by U.S. Public Law 110229. She has demonstrated true leadership and commitment during her time at the Scholarship Office, and I am confident that she will continue to do the same if confirmed to serve on this board. Her leadership and commitment to higher education is a testimony of her desire to improve the quality of education and workforce for the CNMI. On behalf of the CNMI Scholarship Office, we pledge our support for both Ms. Monique Boyer Sablan and Dr. Emma Cabrera Itabus to serve on this board. Sizuos Maasi.
Thank you, Ms. Sablan Camacho. The floor is still open.
Mic check. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee, and all those present today. My name is Patrick Fithiel. I'm pretty sure you recognize me from just about a month and a half ago. I serve as the commissioner on the Civil Service Commission. It is with great honor that I stand before you all in support of Ms. Elizabeth Emma Itibus for confirmation to the CNMI Scholarship Board. I didn't know that I was going to be at the same time, but I am also in support of Ms. Monique Sablon and for her confirmation to the CNMI Scholarship Board. I have known Ms. Itibus for a long time. In fact, we have now known each other for about 25 years. I first met her in the 4th grade in Mount Carmel School, although I always knew her as a Gualarai neighbor, the house with the boat. In Mount Carmel, Emma was known as a great, bright, and proactive student with a natural ability to help others, whether it was academically or as a friend in general. Emma was involved in a number of academic clubs and societies from middle school all the way to high school, all of those that I did not make it to. She set a standard for her peers and her classmates, not only for the class of 2006, but a lot of the classes before and after us. She graduated from Mount Carmel in 2006 and attended Hawaii Pacific University, where she was able to receive her bachelor's in science and human health. She then attended Southern University School of Pharmacy, where she honed in on her pharmacy skills. To say Emma has overcome a lot of challenges and obstacles is an understatement. Emma is an individual that possesses strong mental and physical fortitude. She is persistent. She is a doer, a great role model for our youth and for all young adults. Overall, Emma's strengths alone give me a lot of confidence that she will bring success and progress to the scholarship board. She began her work at CHCC in vital statistics and then came back in 2018 as a pharmacy intern. She worked her way up to a staff pharmacist, and from my experience at the hospital, it comes with ease to say that Emma is an asset and a much needed piece to that pharmacy department. She works a lot of hours at the hospital on a frequent basis. You will see her and her team doing their best to provide quality service on a daily basis. I have all the confidence in the world that Emma is a viable and reliable candidate for the CNMI Scholarship Board. If confirmed, I have no doubt that the board will see the same hardworking, passionate, dedicated, and proactive individual that I have known for the past 25 years, ready to serve our Commonwealth and especially our youth. With that, I humbly ask for your consideration for Ms. Itibus' nomination, and I want to express my gratitude and thanks to this committee and all those involved for allowing me to speak on Emma's behalf. And as mentioned, for the record, I am also in support of Ms. Monique Sablon's confirmation. I've known her for quite a bit. I've seen her in California a lot. Whenever I believe she went to UC Irvine. UC Irvine, yeah. And if there's one word that would describe her, it would be versatile. As you can see from her experience, she's worked in many. She has a lot of range. She's worked in many places, and I have no doubt that both coming back to Saipan to serve our youth and our community will do well on the scholarship board. Thank you, Sizos Masi and Giliso.
Cesar Masick, Commissioner Fitio. The floor is still open.
Buenas, dyan saludo. Lesser Muamoy, Amaga Umogaan. Senate Executive Appointment Committee Chairwoman and distinguished committee members. Guahu, si Francis Manibusan Sablan. Retirado ginin i sistema na eskweleng publiko. Lo matututuzo pago como direktoran i Inetnon Marianas Alliance of Non-Governmental Organizations. I am honored to speak on behalf of Dr. Elizabeth Emma Cabrera Itibus for the CNMI Scholarship Board. I'm also excited to know that Ms. Monique is also a nominee and support both of them. I've known Dr. Itibus since birth. I was one of her proud godparents. In 2011, as was mentioned earlier, she graduated from Hawaii Pacific University. And as Patrick mentioned earlier, with a BS in biology. While she was at HPU, she was inducted in not just one National Honor Society, but three: the Tri Beta, the Alpha Epsilon, and the Alpha Chi. In addition to the CNMI Scholarship Award she was receiving during her tenure at HPU, she was also awarded the Pacific Islands Institute Diana W. Lockwood Memorial Scholarship during her senior year. During that time, as was mentioned, she was a recipient of the CNMI Scholarship and has that experience of what one goes through to be to receive, to be a recipient of such assistance. With the assistance of the CNMI Scholarship Board when she needed it, it basically helped her focus on her lifelong goal of pursuing a career in medicine. Because of the financial aid from the CNMI Scholarship, she was able to use her free time to shadow one of Hawaii's leading general surgeons and worked with medical students in a research group from JAPSM. She took advantage of so many opportunities that would not have been feasible without the extra financial assistance from the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands Scholarship. She would be a great asset to our CNMI Scholarship Board, along with Monique and her colleagues, Donna and Diane, and the entire CNMI community. Si Zuus maasi, hilisaw, atay hinehiniatihan, puri atensyon nizo. In sosozu amzu todos, na in confitma, si Doktora Elizabeth Emma Cabrera Itibus, then si Monique Boyer Sablon, para i-CNMI Scholarship Board. Si Zuus maasi.
Cesar Smalsit, Ms. Sablon. The floor is still open.
Hafade Zentiro, Chairwoman Babauta, and honorable members of this committee. For the record, my name is Kailani Babauta Damapan, Director of Project PROA at the Northern Marianas College and a member of the Saipan Higher Education Financial Assistance Board of Directors. I'm here to express my full support for the nomination of Ms. Monique Boyer Sablon to serve on the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors, and with her, also in my support for Dr. Emma Itibus on the board as well. Like Shefa, the Scholarship Office plays a critical role within our CNMI government, distributing scholarships and assistance to a multitude of students as they pursue higher education in hopes of them returning home and serving our community, which these individuals in front of you have done. When Ms. Sablon worked at the Scholarship Office, I remember she led a campaign to showcase college students and acknowledge their triumphs and achievements as CNMI scholarship recipients. This campaign served as an inspiration and reminder to never forget how hard that journey is for many of our students, as it was for all of us. I have known Ms. Sablon practically my entire life, but since returning home from college in 2016, almost 7 years ago, I had the opportunity to collaborate with her on several community initiatives, such as the Marianas March Against Cancer and Super Typhoon U2 relief efforts. More recently, I've worked alongside her and her team at the Community Development Institute to assist our high school students enrolled in the Teacher Academy program, which is a bridge program between the public school system and the Northern Marianas College to train the next generation of teachers for our Commonwealth. Ms. Sablan truly embodies the definition of education, which is the key to growth and prosperity for our community. And we need leaders like her and Dr. Itibus who are committed, dedicated, and passionate for our people. She is a highly motivated leader, communicator, and a role model for our students. And they are together true testaments of both the CNMI scholarship and SHEFA programs through their professional work and volunteerism. And as a board member, I believe having someone of Ms. Sablan's and Dr. Itibus's quality and character is critical, especially when it comes to making very difficult decisions. And I look forward to working with the entire CNMI Scholarship Board and collaboratively as well as these women. And so for these reasons, I strongly urge this August body to confirm Ms. Monique Boyer-Sablan and Dr. Emma Itibus to serve as a member of the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors. Thank you, Sizus Maasi Zengiliso, for your leadership and consideration of my testimony.
Sizus Mase, Ms. Dimapan. The floor is still open.
So sorry. Good morning, Chairwoman Babauta and members of the committee. My name is Les Sagumaro Ularang, and I work for the Northern Marianas College under the CNMI Area Health Education Center. I'm here today in support of the nomination of Ms. Monique Boyer-Sablan to serve on the CNMI Scholarship Board, and I'm also in full support of the nomination of Ms. Dr. Emma Itibus as well. I had the pleasure of working with Ms. Sablan for the past 3 months when she was recently hired as director of NMC's Community Development Institute. In that short period of time, she has proven to be a highly qualified leader with a deep understanding of the needs of the CNMI workforce, as well as a strong belief in the importance of education in preparing and upskilling our people for successful careers and better and meaningful lives. Having worked in various positions in both the private and public sector, including working at the CNMI Scholarship Office for 2 years as a workforce program coordinator, Ms. Sablan has a keen understanding of the needs of employers and the challenges facing job seekers in today's market. She is also very familiar with the latest trends in workforce development, but most importantly, her focus as director of CDI is to build capacity in our local labor force in anticipation of the end of the CNMI only transitional worker program on December 31st, 2029. I see Ms. Sablan as a visionary leader who is able to see the big picture and develop systems and strategies that will help organizations achieve their goals. She is also a creative thinker and who is always looking for new and innovative ways to improve programs and help people and organizations reach their goals. And I fully support and respectfully ask for your support in approving the nominations of Ms. Monique Boyer-Sablan to serve on the scholarship board, as well as Dr. Emma Itibus. Ulamway Sizus Masi, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ogumaro Olodong. The floor is still open.
Good morning and buenos dias. My name is Helena Sablan Palacios, and I work at The CHCC is the chief of clinics for all our outpatient services for Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda. And I'm here before the EAGU committee in my own personal capacity, offering my full support and recommendation for Dr. Elizabeth Emma Itibus and Miss Monique Boyer Sablan to the CNMI Scholarship Board. I've known Miss Elizabeth Emma Itibus for almost all my life. I was there at her kindergarten graduation and as well as her doctorate in pharmacy graduation. Um, Emma is what many people would call a nerd. So she really she has that experience of loving and valuing education. And as Mr. Fitio said, those are many things that I did not avail of during our time in school. But I really do look to Emma in her success with education and pushing forward no matter what's in her way. I'm also here to say that she has had plenty of practice for this board. You can ask her parents. We've had many debates at dining tables over the years, and so I know she'll do well with Miss Monique and Donna and Miss Diane Hokuk. Emma is an example of turning our local capacities, dreams into realities. She has gone through many things throughout her life and continues to serve our people. When Emma first went to school to be a doctor, I knew she was just coming back to do her diligence in providing care back to our people and what we ask for when you get CNMI scholarship or when you get SHEFA. But I've seen throughout the past 5 years, Emma truly understands and is an example of what it means to be part of the change in our community. She stands here not just as a CHCC employee, but I think truly wanting to be part of not a better future, but just the future in general. And I think that's what we need. The CNMI Scholarship Board has a slogan on its website that says, helping eligible CNMI students achieve their dreams. This is what it did for Emma and Monique. So I ask for you to give the opportunity to both of them to be part of the work that continues to be done to ensure that this is upheld for our students now and years to come. Again, I offer my full support for Dr. Elizabeth Emma Itibus and Miss Monique Boyer Sablan to the CNMI Scholarship Board. Thank you.
Scissors Mossett, Ms. Palacios. The floor is still open.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Babauta, and members. Okay, this is kind of my name is Fabian Indalation. This is kind of unplanned for me to be present in support of these two ladies. I'm a recipient of the scholarship way back then with Miss Hilaria Santos, and that was very important for me to be receiving that new assistance back then. And right now I kind of plan to be the last person. If I'm the last one here, so listening to everybody, what they call attesting their credentials, in support of these two ladies. There's nothing more to brag about than you all listened to already what they've been said. I don't know them personally, but I hope and I think I did visit the governor. I'm always in support, advocating for scholarships, for the students. And I hope we're talking about more money, you know. The most important things other than those credentials they have is the compassion for the student. I hope they're not forgetting that those students are over there or even here or anywhere that they're studying, and that they need to be thinking about how much more the government and them having to advocate for assistance, those money that we all need for, because when we're students sometimes we have to get an extra job, to compensate, a little bit more for, trying to live a life in, during our studies in the mainland or anywhere else. So I'm in support. If I have my choice, I already confirmed them. I'm just kidding. So thank you very much for listening to me. And I really do support, like I said, to when I visited Ms. Camacho about the scholarship for the student. They were talking about they need the
the board, to come on and start working for the students, issues, as far as the scholarship. So thank you very much. If even in the Leisure Talo, thank you, and for this opportunity to just kind of share. I'm in support. Thank you.
Cesar Small said, Mr. Indalacio, the floor is still open.
Half a day. Members of Chairwoman and members of this esteemed body, my name is Nicole Babauta, and I am here as a private citizen in full support of Dr. Ictibus and Ms. Sablan's nomination to the scholarship board. Both women are passionate members of our community and hold a vested interest in empowering our workforce and ensuring that we have a future for our children. Emma and I are actually classmates from kindergarten through 8th grade. Through our schooling years, she has always held leadership position roles and earned the trust of her peers. And as such, today she stands before us as a daughter of the CNMI, Doctor of Pharmacy. Monique and I have actually worked together in various professional capacities for the past 6 years. Monique truly has the heart of the CNMI with her. One of her strongest trait, as many people may confirm here as well with me, is her tenacity. She doesn't take no for an answer. And frankly, she is able to provide creative solutions with limited resources. If confirmed, I am certain that both Dr. Emma and Monique will challenge the norm and ensure the success of our children and our grandchildren. Thank you.
Cesar Small said, Ms. Babauta, the floor is still open.
Half a day, Nesaranim. My name is Natasha Palacios, and I am an employee at the Cannabis Commission Office. Monique Boyer Sablan. When I hear that name, I think of a friend, a sister, a mother, and a daughter of the CNMI who has served her community through volunteer work and held numerous positions for leadership programs and volunteer organizations. What amazes me about Monique is not the fact that she is educated, graduating from one of the top universities in California. It's the fact that when an opportunity presents itself, and when that opportunity is in her hands, it's what she is able to accomplish and how well she carries herself through it all. Literally, leaving a footprint of a step forward. There is no doubt in my heart and soul that she will be a great asset to the CNMI Scholarship Office. Monique Boyer Sablan, you are a woman in demand. And Madam Chair and Senate, I ask for your full support for Monique Boyer Sablan, also with Ms. Emma Ictibus. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Palacios. The floor is still open.
Hafade, my name is Benjamin Babauta. I'm the Marketing and Outreach Coordinator for Northern Marianas Technical Institute. I'm here on my personal and professional capacity. For both Ms. Monique Sablan and Ms. Dr. Emma Ictibus. I have had the pleasure with growing with Monique for 15 years from high school to college abroad, and relocating back home. I can confidently say that she possesses the qualities and skills necessary for this role. Monique has a strong passion for education and demonstrated a deep commitment to supporting students in their academic pursuits. She has a keen understanding for challenges that students face and is dedicated to creating opportunities for them to succeed. This includes trade students as well. I work with Monique at NMTech for the apprenticeship program with her and her team, and the CNMI Scholarship Office for scholarships for the students in the trades at Northern Marianas Technical Institute. Monique has also been a very active member in the community by serving on boards and organizations such as the CNMI Cancer Association, Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Abuse, Stellar Marianas, and Pacific Century Fellows. I'm confident that Monique will be an asset in the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors and would tirelessly work to ensure her scholarship recipients receive the support they need to achieve their academic goals. Thank you for considering Monique Sablan-Boyer and Dr. Emma Itibus for this important role.
Thank you, Mr. Babauta. Floor is still open.
Good morning, esteemed committee. My name is Eric Bossa, an employee at the CNMI Cannabis Commission, and I come before you to support the nomination for Ms. Monique Boyer-Sablon to serve as a member of the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors. In my experience working with Ms. Sablon during her tenure as the Managing Director for the Cannabis Commission, she exhibits great leadership, confidence, and charisma. She's a go-getter and always committed to accomplish any task presented to her. With the staff, she provides positive affirmations, encouraged to strive higher, and made certain to provide recognition when it was due. In times of adversity, Ms. Sablon's wit and determination ensured that any obstacle was overcome. Furthermore, with Ms. Sablon's past employment to the CNMI Scholarship provides great value of her knowledge and understanding and will be quick to get started once confirmed. It is with these reasons that Ms. Sablon is invaluable to the CNMI Scholarship, and I am confident in her ability to ensure that every eligible CNMI student has the potential to achieve their dreams. With that in mention, I humbly ask this committee to confirm the nomination of Ms. Monique Boyer-Sablon to be a member of the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors, and inclusion to Ms. Dr. Emma Itibus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bossa. The floor is still open.
Good morning, Chairwoman and honorable members of the board. My name is Geraldine Sasamoto, and I'm here today to express my support for Ms. Monique Boyer-Sablon to serve on the CNMI Scholarship Board. I've had the pleasurable and wild experience working with Monique for the past 3 months in NMC, and I am the program manager under her at the Community Development Institute at NMC. Monique has shown a strong understanding of the challenges our community faces, and she is committed to finding solutions that will help the CNMI community to achieve their academic goals. Through her tenacity and commitment to providing educational opportunities to the community, she has already planned and developed a number of innovative programs that are helping to increase access to education, such as certificate programs, apprenticeships, and more, despite her short term at NMC. In addition, her vast understanding in both public and private sectors has proven to be a tremendous asset as she devises professional development trainings in order to address the challenges in workforce development here in the CNMI. There is no doubt that Monique Boyer-Sablon will make a valuable contribution to the CNMI Scholarship Board. Thank you for your consideration to have her serve.
Thank you, Ms. Sasamoto. The floor is still open.
No, good morning, Chairman Babauta and members of the distinguished committee. No, sidos masi ni nai oportunidad estilos padgon Palawan ni inapoyen ni gobyerno para user fi i college. I mas necesita na choto dan na preciso na posisyon ni po UGEGI 2. Guaho si Pedro Ilo Itibus. Agaho si Emma. Jan Tilgoftung si Monique lo utung si tatanya si Mani. Gini umami na dos gi CDA Fira Deno maatot pia ma gi birada siya. Lo gay gizu gini pago no put yagaw si Emma personally. Jan sa paputa lo ki si Monique gisti na posisyon ni Pumasuli. Utungo na makadi itetsoni ha. Jan mas simpi makat pago para mona ni sti na posisyon ni mapuntay dos si Masi.
Jesus Mose, Senor Itibus. The floor is still open. If there are no other public comments, we will proceed. Dr. Itibus, do you prefer to go by Emma or Elizabeth? I know you as Emma.
Emma's good.
Thank you. Just had to clarify that. Today, we will examine your nominations from Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatine. This is a process, the Senate exercising its authority under law, and your nomination requires the advice and consent of the Senate, a process unique to the Senate. It is the responsibility of each member of this committee to ask probing questions, if not exploratory questions of your character as well, and your professional and academic standing. And that is why we are here today. Your nominations come at a time of turbulent financial crisis. And each member has the responsibility to ask questions of concerns to the public as well as this committee. And so we will begin. I will now recognize the legislative assistant, Mr. Devin Macaranas, as he administers the oath of office, the oath to you. May I please ask you to rise and raise your right hand? Thank you.
Ms. Monique Boyer Sablon and Elizabeth Emma Cabrera Itibus, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin with the question portion of this hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. I will afford each of you an opportunity to make opening statements. If you wish to do so, you may also recognize members of your family at this time.
Before starting, I want to apologize if any of this information is redundant, but please just bear with me. Good morning, Hofade and Tiro, Madam Chairwoman, honorable members of this committee, and to the people of the CNMI. My name is Elizabeth Emma Cabrera Itibus, but everyone simply calls me Emma. I am the proud daughter of Pete and Bernadita Itibus, and an even prouder member of the Chamorro and Refaluash communities. I am extremely honored to appear here today before this committee to defend my nomination to the CNMI Scholarship Board of Directors. However, before I begin, I would like to take this time to thank the people that have made today possible. To Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatine, I am extremely grateful to the both of you for entrusting me to serve on the CSO Board of Directors. To Keith, thank you for your unending encouragements. To my mom, dad, and my sister Mona. Without you, no dream would be worth having, and without your sacrifice, my goals would have never been attainable. I've said it before, and I will say it forever. My success will always be a byproduct of your sacrifice, your dedication, and love. To my family and friends present here today, I am forever grateful for your support and love. Leaving home to further my education was one of the most difficult decisions I had to make. But I knew that since I had big dreams, I also had to make big sacrifices. My transition from an alumni to an HPU graduate and finally a PharmD was not an easy road, but through perseverance, determination, and hard work, I was able to turn a lifelong dream into reality. When I received my Doctor of Pharmacy degree in 2018, the choice to return home was an easy one. It was my time to give back to the community that had given me so much. For that reason, I wasted no time and began working as a graduate intern at the CHCC until I passed my board exams and became the first Indigenous licensed female pharmacist in the entire CNMI. Being a pharmacist at the CHCC has given me opportunities most pharmacists only dream of. Everything from experience with ambulatory care medicine to mixing oncology regimens and being part of the hemodialysis interdisciplinary team. And in the true spirit of never-ending opportunities at the CHCC, in 2018 and in 2020, I served my community as a frontliner during Super Typhoon Yutu and the COVID pandemic. It is an honor and a privilege to serve the people of the CNMI in a capacity that I am not only passionate about, but in a way I had always dreamed of. When I was approached about this nomination, I must admit I did have my hesitations. Like all the other important, meaningful, and crucial decisions I've made in the past, I took the time to consider what this nomination meant. Eventually, I came to realize that it was only fitting that I serve my community in a position that promotes a sentiment I hold near and dear to my heart: the advancement of education. If given the opportunity to serve on the CSO Board of Directors, I promise to work hard for all the past, present, and future students of the CNMI. It is our duty as stewards of education to do what we can to open the door of educational possibilities. As a former CNMI scholarship recipient, I can truly say that this program is valuable to our community. Politician Brad Henry famously said, "No other investment yields as great a return as the investment in education." An educated workforce is the foundation of every community and the future of every economy. In closing, I would like to thank Chairwoman Babauta and members of the EAGI committee for giving me this time to have an open and honest conversation regarding my nomination. And once again, Sizuas Maasis and Gilaso to my family, friends, and the CSO office for taking time out of their day to show their support.
Thank you, Dr. Itibus. I will now give the floor to Ms. Monique Sablon for her opening statements.
Hafaday and Tiro, Chairwoman Babalta, and members of the EAGI committee. Before I proceed, I do really want to say so many thanks to my friends and family who are here today in support. One after the other, every time I looked at them, I was like, here they are. To hear how they feel and see me is just one of the greatest feelings in the world, especially having both my mom and my dad here. I have siblings, in case anyone didn't know. Some of them are in the States, and I'm sure they're doing a live stream watch party right now. So hello, miss you guys. Like everyone had mentioned, my name is Monique Boyer Sablon. They said Monique Boyer Sablon more than I've ever heard Monique Boyer Sablon in my life. But you can call me Monique. I come before you all today to express my interest in serving as a member of the CNMI Scholarship Board. As a highly motivated and experienced young professional, I believe that my background in scholarship and workforce development makes me a perfect fit for this position. The CNMI Scholarship Office represents one of the only jurisdictions that provides government-funded scholarship opportunities for students in the nation. This initiative showcases how our Commonwealth is committed to nurturing the talent and ambitions of our students of all ages, myself included, as I too was a CNMI scholarship recipient who returned home. Having previously worked as the Workforce Development Coordinator at the CNMI Scholarship Office, I had gained invaluable insights into the intricacies of managing and distributing scholarships. During my tenure, I had the privilege of working closely with talented individuals who are still there, who are passionate about higher education and believe in its transformative power. Witnessing the positive impact of scholarships on the lives of countless students inspires me to continue my journey of empowering individuals through education and training. Currently, as my role at the Community Development Institute at the Northern Marianas College, I have been entrusted with the responsibility of handling workforce training and developing programs specifically tailored for non-traditional students. This experience has further solidified my understanding of the diverse needs and aspirations of our population. It has reinforced the significance of recognizing and supporting all students in their pursuits of higher education and skill building. In today's dynamic world, where educational pathways are ever evolving, we too can move forward. By addressing the unique challenges faced by students, we can pave the way for their success and contribute to their overall growth and development of our community. Ensuring equal opportunities for all individuals, regardless of their backgrounds or circumstances, lies at the heart of building a truly inclusive and prosperous economy. Allow me to share a sentiment expressed by my father, Manuel A. Sablon, or Manny Kapun, whose wisdom has shaped my own perspective on education, and whose wisdom was shaped by my grandparents who were educators. He, along with my mother, Del Boyer Sablon, everyone knows her, have always emphasized that the pursuit of higher education is the key to independence and respect. This statement resonates deeply with me, and it has served as a constant reminder of the immense responsibility we bear in guiding and supporting our students towards a brighter future. Education has been the cornerstone of my professional success, opening doors that no one can close and providing me with knowledge that no one can take away. It has empowered me to navigate the complexities of the workforce and contribute meaningfully to the development of programs and initiatives both in public and private sectors. Recognizing the transformative power of education, I am deeply committed to ensuring that individuals, regardless of their background or circumstances, have access to opportunities and support their need to thrive academically and thus professionally. If given the opportunity to serve on the CNMI Scholarship Board, I pledge to bring passion, expertise, dedication to the table. I am committed to working diligently alongside my colleagues to ensure the effective management and distribution of scholarships, while actively advocating for needs of all students, traditional and non-traditional. I firmly believe that the CNMI Scholarship Board has a vital role to play, and it continues to play that role in shaping the educational landscapes of our island. As a mother, I hold a personal stake in this mission, with the hope that the Scholarship Office will continue to thrive and provide invaluable opportunities for our students, including my own son, when the time comes for him to pursue education. Thank you for your time and consideration. Thank you to the committee and Chairwoman Babalta for this opportunity. I too am also in support of Dr. Emma Itibus. I don't know if that's still public comment for record, but for the record, I am also in support of Emma Itibus to sit alongside me on the board if confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sablon. I will now recognize any member of the committee to start with their questions of the nominees. Recognize Senator Paul Minglonia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Without actually questiono, I have no question. I just want to commend the two young, great leaders, accomplished leaders already, with just a few years that they have come back from attaining their education. I'm ready to move forward. As we read in the transition report, they have not met since 2021, and I'm just happy now that our students will finally have a quorum scholarship board, and I just want to thank you too for accepting this I guess responsibility, and I would like to say honor for because you will now be addressing scholarship issues for the CNMI. No, Dongklo na si Zeus Mosi, I know your parents, and I know they value education, and I know that you will pass this on to your kids and to our students out there in the CNMI. Madam Chair, pwede ko no prior appointment, sa appointment, bay ko no dispensasyon za bay attend sa an appointment. Law, siguro zo na siyan maguf si Donna para dan si Diana para panamzugi scholarship board. No, pues si Zeus Mosi, no, congratulations. Paramzo na dos na mampus en atendi education mizus and it is mizus and no don't look at us on mizu. You have a big heart for our kids out there, for our children, and I know that they will be in good hands. No, preciso mouse.
Thank you, Senator Paul. You are excused at this time. I also wanted to state before I recognize the next member, for the record, we also received letters of support from Mr. Richard V. Solis in support of Dr. Emma Itibus, Miss Monica Manibusan, CNMI Scholarship Office employee, Miss Polly De Leon Guerrero Masca, Mr. Kevin Bautista, Miss Diana Beneventi Hokog, and Miss Mildred. Aside from her oral testimony, we also received written testimony in support of both of your nominations. Miss Mildred Sablan Camacho, the CSO administrator. I will now recognize the Senator Dennis Mendiola.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like Senator Paul, I don't have a question. I think you guys' credential speaks for itself. You guys have extensive background on a lot of educational aspects. So I don't have a question. I just want to make a statement. And then I also, for Ms. Sablan, if your brother's watching, maybe I should penalize you for some of the golf payments that I had to pay him when I lost. But in all seriousness, I really just wanted to just kind of connect on like some of the challenges that you guys had during your time receiving scholarship, and maybe you guys can just share some of those challenges and how can we address those and move forward.
It's been a while since I had to receive a scholarship, so I got to really dig back. But I think the one that really does come to mind is the timing of the releasing of the scholarships. As a student living in Hawaii, it's probably one of the most expensive states, if not the most expensive to live in and go to school in. So I really relied on that. But I have to admit that it never fell through. They still came, albeit kind of late. But I want to say like that's the foremost challenge that I had to deal with as a CNMI scholarship recipient. And then, but I was able to work with them even afterwards when I came back. I took a brief break between graduate school and graduating from undergrad. They're very receptive with paying back. So I think that the CNMI scholarship, as barring all the difficulties, they still follow through with their mission to help students.
Thank you. Before she answers, actually, it wasn't really intended to be a question, but I'm glad that you answered it. The reason why I just pointed that out is because we're, as everybody mentioned in a lot of the testimonial, or even the chair, is the financial difficulties that we're facing, and I'm sure that that's probably going to be the challenge, given that this is probably going to be the first time that the board is going to have a quorum in a few years. So I just want to make a statement that I'm excited that there's a team now in place, and that we can look at these challenges and try and come together and figure out how we can work for our students as a whole, given the state of our economy, or given the state of the financial situation that we're in. So I just want to point that out there, and you iterated or you illustrated that the delay of payment, and I'm sure that that's not going to stop, or I'm sure that that's not going to just magically disappear. So I just wanted to point that out there, and again, I want to commend you too for coming back. And I see Miss Boyer when you were in cannabis, Miss Sablan. I saw how aggressive you were and strong-minded, and how you were very work orientated and everything. So I'm excited for you guys, and I just really, I wish you guys the best. Madam Chair, yield for now.
Thank you, Senator Mendiola. Recognize Senator Donald Manglonia.
Thank you, Chair. Before I proceed, just want to congratulate you both on your achievements, as well as express our gratitude for all the community work that you guys have done, as well as coming back and giving back to our community. As a former teacher, that's something that I constantly grow into with my students' mind is go out there, get your experience, come back and share that with our people. So thank you for coming back and thank you for sharing your experiences. Another thing I want to point out too is that having sat in this committee, there are some requirements for boards and commissions where there must be at least one member who's a female, and but CNMI scholarship, that's all female, and so congratulations for that achievements, and I wish you all the best. But in understanding the situation we're in right now, even just looking at the budget proposal, and I'm sure we'll probably hear from Miss Mildred pretty soon. The scholarship office had requested 1.2 million, in which in the governor's proposal none of that was funded, and so that's where bulk of that's one of the biggest challenges that you'll probably be facing moving forward if confirmed, and trying to understand ways in which we can maybe collect some of these scholarships that from students who hasn't come back or who are still owing the CSO. And so that's something I hope that the board can review and look at, whether it be through going through a collection agency. I think that's something that you guys will have to agree, or maybe just revisiting the statute where students, or even I'm not sure if it's a regulation where students have to come back. I understand that there are some challenges with getting your degree, but not finding the right job, or the job that pays what it's supposed to pay in your field. And so how can we address that issue and not necessarily penalize the recipient, but also I guess maybe the whole regs would have to be revisited and updated to meet our current situation. And so that's something that I hope you can look at if and when you get confirmed. But one thing I do want to ask, and this is for Ms. Sablon, you were employed by CSO back when, and so do you have any, based on your experience with CSO, do you have any recommendations that you would like to offer now if confirmed as a board member?
I was a part of scholarship from 2017 to early 2019, and I was working for their workforce development program. I definitely see myself coming in, if I am approved as a board member, coming in on the workforce side, bridging a gap, right? We were talking earlier about what do graduates do in order to come back home to repay their work service, so they can avoid having to repay their scholarship back. Now, I think scholarship also needs to start honing in more on the workforce development part and bridging the gap. Because as much as they're doing now, and trust me, that office is a machine, they work so hard. And like I said, there's still many of them that are still there, even at the time I was there. And so I think that, we provide the scholarship, we give them the opportunity, they graduate. A lot of them don't want to come home. I think it really might be a miscommunication in the opportunities that are here. I think we really need to bridge that gap in showcasing, partnering with our public and private sectors, showing what the job availability is, maybe even getting DOL a part of the conversation as well. I think that is really what I bring to the table for the board is, bridging the gap for graduation into the workforce in the CNMI. And I look forward to that. I have plenty of ideas, but I'm going to keep them secret for now until I get confirmed. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you for that. Well, it's a good thing Mr. Fitio is here so that, you can bridge that gap with Civil Service Commission. But this question is for both of you, and I just want to see where you both stand in regards to the current regulations where recipients either pays back through service or pays back through, or when these grants get converted into a loan if they don't kind of come back right away.
Personally, with that regulation, I'm in support of it more so but we also have to do just as Ms. Sablan said, where we have to bridge that gap. And if we do that, I think it'll really encourage a lot of our graduates, our indigenous people to come back and help the CNMI in the workforce, both private and public. I am a testament of that, same as Monique. And I can say that, in all honesty, although it was an easy decision because I always wanted to, that's always been my plan to return home. But it still gets difficult with like opportunity wise, especially as a pharmacist, here versus there. So that's one of the things that I had to think about. But I think like if we work with the workforce and we offer more opportunities, then we can encourage a lot of our students to return home. Hopefully, that's my hope.
Sorry, kind of sure. I'm in full support of work service, and I think that is just the reason why is because it worked for me and Emma. We knew we had a memorandum of agreement. We knew we were getting. This is not so. Scholarship is not a privilege. It's not something that should be bestowed upon everyone just because we're from the CNMI. It is really an opportunity, and like I mentioned earlier, is not every jurisdiction does this. So to have a government that sets aside money in order to really firsthand monetarily support education is something that the Commonwealth, like we should be very prideful in the Commonwealth to have that opportunity. But we also need to understand that sometimes our economy needs to be, in the right, we need to have a thriving economy in order to continue programs such as these. Now, for the students that may not be in support of work service, that also might not even be in support of having to pay a loan or would want their scholarships, quote unquote, forgiven, well, your community invested in you. And so the investment in your community shouldn't be a question. It should, if anything, be mandatory. And so I am in full support of work service because, yeah, I didn't come back and get exactly the job that I thought I wanted. But the one beauty and unique thing about our Commonwealth is the opportunity to gain work experience. We know people, we have friends and family, the comfort of having friends and family here. I'm not saying that it's necessarily easier to be here and that there's no opportunities in, let's say, the mainland, but there are a lot of benefits about coming home. And I think that that's something we can work on the scholarship side, is just to show the incentives of being home. It's not just about finding a job. It's not just about receiving a paycheck. It's about being with your family. It's about contributing and investing back. So we can see this, our investment, return on investment when they come back. So I think that's something we can do through campaigns and marketing. Also, yeah, I truly believe in the scholarship office and their team. They do their absolute best, but like any other agency, I'm sure their hands are tied to an extent. So I'm looking forward to working alongside the board to fix these policies, fix these regulations. And yeah, I really do think that there's opportunity, particularly in streamlining and technology. I really think that that's something that I believe me and Dr. Emma and the rest of the board can attribute to make this a streamlined process that's easier, in particular for those who are off island.
Thank you for that. And I think, and that's why I hope that when the board gets its quorum, that's collection agency is something that you should really look at along with the AG. From my understanding, and Ms. Mildred can correct me later if I'm wrong, but the current awards, or I think either current or future awards right now, is being funded by penalties or these loans that are being paid, or scholarships that are being paid back for those who never came back. And so if that's, if this could be some sort of a revolving account where, those who don't ever intend to come back or even immediately after graduation, if they end up paying that back, that could help fund the next set of students wanting to seek higher education. And so I really hope that's something that could be looked at this time around and with this new board. Ms. Itibus, thank you for bringing up the challenges with getting the payouts on time. As you know, the local scholarships also go through the same issues in trying to get funds out. I mean, why is the money coming out when the semester is already over and we're needing these monies beforehand? And so I hope that there's careful planning in that decision where you can already start looking ahead at what a student's next semester will be and trying to get those funds out. Hopefully, if and when we provide additional funding to the CNMI Scholarship Office. But other than that, you are right in the sense that the CSO staff has been very aggressive and reaching out to the committee too when I was in the House. And so I wish you both the best and thank you for your continued service in wanting to serve as a board member for Scholarship Office. Thank you. I yield at this time.
Thank you, Senator Manglonia. My turn. I'm glad Dr. Itibus, I'm glad you brought up the issue of delay. As everyone here has mentioned, we've all been through that, those of us who were recipients at one point of the CNMI Scholarship Awards. If confirmed, you now have the opportunity to address that. I understand that both of you are recipients of CNMI Scholarship as well as Shefa. Okay. Can you share with us, both of you, one at a time, your experience, your personal experience, and how the program assisted you in obtaining your educational goals? We can start with you, Dr. Itibus.
On pharmacy school is expensive. So in order to get there, even going through my bachelor program, I extended it an extra year so that I could help tutor at the school, and also wanted to, as Nina Francis mentioned, I was shadowing a general surgeon in Hawaii, as well as working with a research team. So receiving the scholarship with CNMI and Shefa really made that possible for me. Like I was able to look at different opportunities. When I first went to school, I wasn't sure which part of medicine I wanted to go into. I just knew that I wanted to go into medicine. So that financial burden or that financial assistance really helped me look at different avenues and experience different things, such as the shadowing of the surgeon, Dr. Bueno. And I think, like it gave me that opportunity and the freedom to really plan out my life or my career, so to say, my career, where I wanted to go and where I wanted to end up. That's really how the scholarship has helped me, both scholarships.
From what I gather from your answer, scholarship was not enough, but yet you still went to one of the most expensive degrees.
Yes, it helped.
but it was an assistance, meaning, and also the fact that the awards are very minimal compared to the cost of it, the education.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Miss Monique.
My school was also very expensive. I went the community college route actually for my first 2 years in college. And that was a very strategic move because I knew that that would be the less inexpensive route, but still within, like, my community college was in the same city as my university. So it was all very well thought out and planned. And I said, we're going to save some money where we can. Now, when I think of CNMI scholarship, I think about the textbooks. I think about the materials. I think about my supplies for school. I think about how to get to school. I think about housing, and how that has alleviated in that way, that fear, or we're just teenagers majority of the time, or 18-year-olds, new adults walking into college life, especially when we're in the States. I went to school in California. That is also very expensive, Southern California. And so can only imagine that everyone else around me, you know, they had everything. I came from a small island. You know, things were just more expensive because it was non-resident tuition, right? And so we think about that. Now, yes, scholarship is not enough. It doesn't pay for our entire, definitely has not paid for our entire, you know, educational degree. But man, do I remember the help that I got from it. Just being able to purchase textbooks. Textbooks in themselves can be up like $300, $400. Now to be able to devote, you know, that money towards that and not have to worry about, you know, if I had the materials for my courses or my classes, or even just straight directly to provide that into my actual tuition. I know my parents, you know, they sacrifice so much in order for me to be able to go to school. So with my family putting in that sacrifice and knowing that my community too, through Shefa and CNMI scholarship, also sacrificed, because that money could have gone somewhere else to aid another program, but instead it was invested into me or into Emma or into others that I know. Yeah, that's why for me, when it came back to work service, like all I had to do was come home and work, and I didn't have to pay a penny back. Instead, I was, you know, making money for myself because I had a job here. It just makes sense. I think it makes sense. I know that it might not make sense for everyone, or might not be the best circumstance for everyone. But I think on a foundational level or a general level, that is something that I hope that we can continue to instill. Yes.
Thank you. As a recipient, both of you, as a recipient of the CNMI scholarship, where do you see, knowing how the process is and the amounts you get and the issues with it, such as the delay of the distribution of the awards, where do you see the scholarship office, should you be confirmed, where do you see the scholarship office with your talents and skills and education? Where do you see the scholarship office in 4 years? Dr. Itabus?
Ideally, I would hope that, you know, the scholarship office can get more money. I'm a big proponent of education, as Helena mentioned earlier. I'm a big nerd, so like, but I think in 4 years, I would number one hope that we have worked with the workforce agency and have commitments from students to come back. I think that actually is my number one goal, if confirmed into the board, is to try and work with the private and public sectors in the CNMI and try to see how we can encourage students to come back. I Further on, I would like to see these public and these government and private sectors also offer like grant opportunities. For instance, I work at the CHCC, and when I graduated pharmacy school, I was probably, if not almost $300,000 in student loan debt. But I have slashed that down to less than half as 5 years later. And that was through a grant program with CHCC. I do work, and through their grant, they pay off portion of my scholarship, or sorry, my loans. And that's where I would like to see the workforce. Hopefully, I hope that one day we get to offer that kind of opportunity to students, because I think that's a really like good encouraging way to get them to come back. It's always nice when you don't have to pay for your own loans.
Thank you, and I'm glad Mr. Patrick Fitio is listening in. So hopefully that could be arranged with OPM. Miss Monique?
I agree. 100%. In 4 years, I see workforce being the top priority We're not going to just give out scholarships just to give out scholarships. We're going to give out scholarships that are going to contribute back through students that are going to contribute back into our workforce because of the upcoming 2029 sunset of the CW. I think I want to be able, or alongside the board, I want to be able to instill in students that you may not get the job that you necessarily want, but there are jobs here that pay and they give experience. I think I'm really a poster girl for the different types of jobs that I've had in my, I don't know, less than 10 years experience. But, I know people laugh about that sometimes, but I can tell you with a degree in higher education and grit, you can do anything. You really, truly can do anything. And I think our Commonwealth really needs these diverse and multifaceted people to come to do that. I also see CNMI Scholarship working on internships, fellowships, mentorship opportunities that cater towards maybe juniors who are about to graduate or seniors who are about to graduate, placing them in businesses and having that collaborative communication with the private sector in particular to see what types of jobs are out there, what are the vacancies right now, and let's see through the batch of students that we know are graduating soon, how do we place them? We focus so primarily on just finding a way to give scholarships out that we really need to start focusing on the return on investment through workforce. So that's where I see it. I see more opportunities, more programs. Millie's gonna laugh. I see your office getting bigger. Hopefully. I know for a fact that the public and private sector needs people. And I know for a fact we have a pool of people who are educated and driven and skilled. Now, where do we meet in the middle? And I think that's really something through the board to have those hard conversations to develop that infrastructure of the office or that pipeline that encourages now the return on investment. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned earlier that scholarship is not a privilege. Well, it is actually a privilege, not a right. Knowing the significant number of students who have graduated and do not return, both of you ladies are part of the exception. But knowing that there's so much more individuals out there who graduated and were recipients of the CNMI scholarship or SHEFA and did not return, and they had to improvise and come up with a loan repayment program. Knowing that, and I hope you get into the statistics if confirmed, how do you propose we capture these graduating seniors from universities off island to come back and contribute to the government? Because I do agree with you, we need them back, not only because they received funding from our government, but also our government itself needs these expertise to come back. And one of the most critical needs right now of our government for many, many years is an economist. So if you could answer, Ms. Boyer Sablon, would you like to answer first?
That's tough. It's really tough to answer that question because there are so many different circumstances as to why people don't come back. It might be a job, like their dream job that they had, were able to obtain where they are now. Let's say, for instance, like California. Maybe the job pays better. Obviously, we cannot make employers start paying their people more. But what we can probably do, it's really difficult. But I think I'm very much a believer in setting a standard. Like the standard is this: you come home and you either do work service or you repay it back in a loan. And I think we need to be more strict on that. But we also need to be cognizant of the special circumstances. But not everything is a special circumstance. I really think that lies within the policy and the regulations of the CNMI scholarship that definitely need to be rewritten, revised, and updated to the times of now. Especially because we are in an economic downturn. I also do believe, hopefully alongside the board, that we can also maybe source consultants, economists, as well. I think that this is definitely scholarship and graduation rates and the return of students. That is an economy question. We need to figure out how much impact does that put in our Commonwealth when they do return. How much was the impact when Emma returned? How much was the impact when I returned? So that we can be able to broadcast that to say, like, no, really, if you return and you come back, you are truly investing in the overall community and the overall economy. So I'm very big on marketing. I'm very big on outreach. I'm very big on just being in the public and communicating. So I look forward to also contributing that segment in order to communicate with these upcoming graduates of the opportunities. So I look forward to it if you choose me.
Thank you. As I said in the confirmation hearing of Ms. Donna Flores, I would like to see the CNMI Scholarship Office work with personnel so they can capture graduating students. Scholarship Office certainly knows who is graduating, what degrees they're graduating in, what disciplines they're getting. So I think it'll be, it makes common sense to look at vacancies and line them up with graduating seniors, or even start at the junior level, university junior students. As a former recipient of the scholarship award, what do you think is a fault? What would you say you could improve, either in the process or in the program itself? Dr. Itibus?
So as a scholarship recipient, I think one of the biggest faults, as I mentioned earlier, was probably for me the delay, because I also have like family member. Once I graduated, I came back and I had family members going to NMC, and even they had a difficult time trying to get that money out, and which was really needed. I think that's the one thing that really pops into my mind, that the scholarship office is having a issue with right now. But it also goes back to the funding source, or maybe the lack of board quorum, maybe there's issues, things like that. um, and I hope that if confirmed, me, Monique, Donna, and Miss Diana, we can hopefully find a way to better the it's great. I've been with the people in the scholarship office. I think they're doing the best they can. So I think as board members, if confirmed, we can hopefully all work together to try and make it a better experience than we had a few years ago. So that's my hope.
Thank you, Ms. Sablon. Would you like to answer that?
When I graduated, I believe the scholarship office during my time in college was staffed by completely different people. So whoever was there is not there anymore. So during my time, I think I just can picture myself running around trying to get the MOA notarized, trying to get this printed. And I think that because of the lack of technological advances during my time, it was just not convenient, especially when I'm living in a place that is already technologically advanced. And I remember having to call my brother Mel, who was my deliverer and printer of all my documents. And he would be the one to deliver it to me, because I don't believe at the time they were accepting like emails or had a portal system that could accept my documents. So it was really just a headache to an extent, trying to get everything in on time with the time difference, and then having to, inconvenience my family a little bit, even though my brother is so happy to help me all the time, no matter what. Melvin is always happy to help me. But I believe now, yes, when I was working at Scholarship, we had an online portal application process. There are things that have already been advanced since that time, and I think that the Scholarship Office is definitely doing its best. Now, are they at their best? No, there's always room for improvement, and I'm really excited to see how we can get the office completely digitally literate for our very digitally literate students who are in college right now.
Thank you. Those are very good suggestions. Also, as you mentioned, scholarship is a privilege, and that's a big thing for the legislature because every year we're having to look for funds to fund these, and it's not enough. Over the years, the awards have decreased from when I went to college. So I just have recommendations really at this point. Perhaps in going over and combing through the regulations of the CSO, perhaps the 2.5 GPA needs to be looked into. Do we continue to give students with GPAs of 2.5 a flat amount for everybody just because they meet a GPA? Or can we establish a point system for grades to determine the amount of award you get? That's one suggestion I might have for you. Some may not get the full standard amount, because as you mentioned, California and state of Hawaii are the two most expensive states, including New York, state of New York. But perhaps maybe a point system to the grades that they turn into the office could be looked at rather than a GPA. The other suggestion I have and recommendation is that the CSO look into promoting other scholarships. I remember when my oldest was ready to go to college, and it's a fault on the parents as well. We don't prepare when we have our kids that we're going to be saving. Nobody does, right? But I remember compiling a whole binder of scholarships that were available to our community. There's a Gerber scholarship out there that's very easy to get. There's a Coca-Cola scholarship. There's numerous. There's a minority scholarship. There's a CIA scholarship I came across. And if I'm not mistaken, I may still have those binders with the websites and everything, and I can turn that over. I don't have any. Well, the last one is in college and halfway through, so I wouldn't need that binder anymore, but I think I still have it. But those are some of the things that certainly CSO can and should have been doing. That's all I have for today. Senator Donald, do you have any more? Recognize Senator Donald Miglonia. Oh, I thought you did. If there are none, short recess. I don't have any more questions for you ladies, but it is the privilege of this committee to recommend the confirmation of your nomination to the full Senate. At this time, you are dismissed. Short recess.
Thank you.
It is now 12:36 and we are back from recess. Next item on the agenda is item 5C, Addendum to Standing Committee Report 2322, relating to the advice and consent of Ms. Sachiko and Gerard to serve as a member of the Marianas Visitors Authority Board of Directors representing Saipan businesses. And for the record, Senator Paul Manglonia and Senator Dennis Mendiola were here this morning as part of this hearing. And I just also want to state for the record, because we now have to address 5C, the addendum. For the record, they did give their consent to approve the addendum before us this morning. And a committee report will be produced by the legislative assistant attesting to such. And upon their signature of the addendum, it will affirm their consent to voting or adopting addendum to Standing Committee Report 2322. And so are there any concerns or questions on 5C? If there are none, we will move on to item number 6 on the agenda, miscellaneous. Are there any miscellaneous items to be brought up? None. And we now move to adjournment of this meeting. I recognize Senator Donald Manglonia for the proper motion.
So move, Madam Chair.
Are there any objections to the motion? There being none, the motion passes to adjourn today's meeting. It is now 12:38 p.m. Meeting adjourned.